Okay, folks, it's 6 o'clock. We're going to call this meeting to order. We'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation. I would now ask everyone to stand for the national anthem. Thank you. If anybody has their cell phones on, now would be a good time to switch them off before we forget and they start ringing. All right, our first motion is approval of the agenda. That is moved by Susan Irwin and seconded by Dan Meeks. And the agenda be amended under section 19, closed section, to include 3 additional items under section 239(2) of the Municipal Act. 2 items, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, section 239(2)B, and 1 item, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, section 239(2)C. Kathy explained, or maybe Kathy can explain why that is there.
Yes, those were a couple of other items that have come forth before, like after council had received their package, and they're time sensitive. So that's why they're coming forth.
Okay. Anyone have any questions to that? All those in favor? Carried. And also, I guess part of that is that the agenda for the regular meeting council to be held September the 9th be approved as amended. So that's an amendment. All those in favor? Carried. Right. Any disclosure pecuniary interest of any item on tonight's agenda by any member of council? Seeing none, we'll note that in the minutes. Approval of the minutes moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that the minutes from the regular meeting of council held August the 12th, 2025, and the minutes from the special meeting of council held on August the 27th, 2025, be approved as presented. Any amendments or discussions?
No amendments, Madam Mayor.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Mayor's remarks. I don't have many. This is our holiday is over. We have had July and August with 1 meeting a month. We're back into September and 2 meetings a month. And where did the summer go? And we're into fall. So unless others have something to add, I think it was a great summer. Dan.
I just wanted to say thank you to all the community members that come out and support us at the Fish Fry on Saturday night. It was a great turnout.
An excellent fish. Okay, anyone else? Okay, if not, we'll move on. And we have a delegation, and that is Mr. Richard Allen, who's the Manager of Economic Development for the County of Frontenac, and he's going to talk about municipal accommodation tax. Richard, welcome.
Thank you. Oh, there we go. Red is usually on in my other locations. So anyway, I can't speak too long because I'm apparently have a reputation. But I'm pleased to be here to talk to you about this opportunity. We all understand that tourism is important to our economies across Frontenac County and all of our communities. And one of the challenges that we have when it comes to tourism is finding the resources to invest in tourism and support tourism. And so we're investigating the feasibility of a MAT to understand if it's possible across the county, if there's actually if it's worth it. Certainly, I don't think Matt would be worth it on an individual township basis, but certainly something that we should look at in aggregate so that the administrative costs could be shared across the communities. And so that's part of why we're investigating. So county council's given me a direction to investigate this. No decisions about whether we should proceed are being made. In fact, the county can't pass any bylaws to implement this. It would be something that we'd have to do in partnership with our partners at the townships in order to proceed. So in some ways, it's good that we're looking at it because we don't directly benefit from it at the county, but we see it as an opportunity to support economic development and tourism across the region. So if we move to the next slide here, because we know that tourism at the county, it comes up all the time when we talk with businesses. It's a key part, even if tourism is in a core part of their business operations. They know it's a big part of what happens in our community. And certainly for retail, accommodations, food and beverage, tourism makes a big difference in terms of their bottom line, and we benefit from having those businesses in our community. And so that tourism gets outlined in our Charter for Economic Development, which we updated last year. It's the focus of our destination development plan, and we've seen regular and community support here in Central Frontenac. There's a lot of community events that are really focused around tourism, and that's great. You can leave it on this slide. That's great. You can keep me moving if that's how you want to do it. So if you're not sure what the MAT is, the municipal accommodation tax, it was legislated in 2017, and it gave the province gave municipalities the authority to implement tax on transient accommodations. That's generally roofed accommodations such as hotels, motels, B&Bs, cabin rental resorts, short-term rentals. It's only applicable to stays of less than 30 days. And the municipalities sort of develop what that looks like in their communities, essentially. There are about 80 municipalities that are participating in a MAT right now, and more and more are investigating as it's becoming more commonplace. Next slide, please. So just a few of the municipalities that have a MAT are listed here on this slide. Some are, larger, such as Toronto and Ottawa. And that's more to give you a context of the fact that people are getting used to paying this fee when they go to visit a community, and it's more and more commonplace use for funding tourism. In fact, it's something that we see in a lot of locations where when we engage in tourism. I'm actually surprised now because I look for it on my hotel bills, and you never it can be named all kinds of different things depending on the jurisdiction, but it's certainly a tool that's used not just in Ontario but across the world to fund tourism. Next slide, please. So why would we consider it? Well, we have set up a destination development plan in 2022 at the county level. And one of the primary recommendation was to establish a dedicated tourism resource. That would be what that resource would be. It could be a staff member, but it could also be an organization that supports tourism or something to that effect. We haven't made a decision about that, but that's something that could be created through the process of developing a MAT in partnership with our tourism community and in partnership with the townships. So that's something that we're looking at. We also have these three other goals in terms of developing a sustainable outdoor recreation system to navigate the county, supporting local organizations that promote our diverse identity, arts, culture, and heritage, and looking at developing a countywide culinary experience and educational roadmap. These were all goals that were developed with a steering committee of, I think we had 18 members on that steering committee. It had municipal members from all of the townships, but it also had accommodators, tourism businesses, lake association members, short-term rental operators, different people who we had community organizations. So like Louise Moody was also part of that steering committee. So we were bringing a lot of different perspectives about how tourism is involved in our community. And it's still, I think, a very relevant guide to where tourism should go. Next slide, please. So in Central Frontenac, the way the MAT works is 50% of the funds raised have to go to a tourism entity that is focused on marketing the region for tourism. The other 50% is can remain with the municipality that would collect them. So that's additional non-property tax revenue that would be available to the municipality as well as to fund tourism in some way, shape, or form. Then we create dedicated funding to support summer and winter festivals, amenities on our trails, like washrooms maybe, attending trade shows, building out tourism signage to help people find our things in our area, and essentially focus on the things that we hear from our community in terms of tourism. And in Central Frontenac, those are a few of the things that I've heard when I'm either sitting here with you or visiting the Economic Development Committee at their meetings. And so this is where we see the opportunity locally here. Next slide, please. So again, this project is really to understand if there's an opportunity and if it and what it might take to pursue that opportunity. It's not an opportunity to. I just said a bunch of reasons why we should do this, but I want to also back it up and say this project is really engaging with the community, talking to our partners to understand all of the pieces. Understanding what implementation compliance, what the burdens are on municipalities, how those are funded. All of those pieces have to go into a business plan that's built out around the MAT. Not just the revenue, but also understanding the expenses and resources required to implement. And so all of that work will be taking place to present a high-level report to County Council. If County Council is satisfied with that, I'll be back to visit you to solicit your partnership. If not, we might just pause and say, well, it's a great opportunity, but it's not for us right now, and we want to be able to have all of those options on the table. So in a couple of weeks, we'll be launching a survey and an engagement site for community members, accommodators, residents to ask questions, to let us know what they think we should do with these types of programs to support tourism. We'll be at the end of October conducting open houses in each of the townships. We are planning to be here on the evening of the 30th of October at Oso Hall to provide an in-person engagement session. And there will also be a virtual session aimed primarily at hosts of short-term rentals because they're maybe outside our normal conversations when it comes to tourism or talking to businesses. And so we want to make sure that we're providing a venue where a very specific type of business can speak with us about accommodations. So we'll bring all the options back to, we have partners, members of each township are part of this because we have to make sure that the way that we bring recommendations forward are something that would be something feasible in each township. And so we're working with the staff at each township to make sure that whatever options are brought forward, they're not something that are not possible or from a township perspective as we move forward on the project. Next slide, please. Oh, I wasn't sure if which deck this was. So I've been making a lot of presentations lately. So there's you've got all this information here where the open houses are, and where to find it. So next slide, please. So at this point, I'd love to entertain any brief questions. Again, I probably don't have a lot of answers at this stage because we're starting this project, but I am interested to hear perspectives and questions from council.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Richard. I know you probably don't have an answer to this. So are what you suggesting if we go ahead that the county would become the tourism sponsor, the tourism agency that we would give the other 50% to, instead of like Land O'Lakes tourism region? Or
so yeah, normally in a area there might be an organized. So in Renfrew County, there's the Ottawa Valley Tourist Association that already exists as a what they call as a destination management organization or marketing organization. We used to have the Land O'Lakes Tourist Association here. It doesn't exist anymore, and the county's been serving the role as tourism organization. But part of these discussions would be about this. The county actually couldn't receive that 50% directly, so there would have to be an entity created with joint governance in some way, shape, or form, if that was the direction we went.
Although don't we have, is it R9 looks after our area?
So up here, actually, it's our RTO 11, Ontario's Highlands, but yeah, in south in the islands, it's RTO 9.
Okay.
So yeah, the regional tourism organizations are another option we could consider partnership agreements with.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Certainly, I think we need to all give you a big applause for doing this for us, because it's something that we want to look into, but don't have the resources and time to do it. So we'll look forward to your surveys to see what the feedback is. We've talked many times about short-term rentals and what we can do and the issues with them. Sometimes there's good ones and there's bad ones, but yeah, let's take a look seriously at this, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I just want to say that we really see this as an opportunity to reach out to our short-term rental hosts and bring them into the tourism conversation that they benefit from. They're really, there's an opportunity to make them our partners in this, and this could be a conversation where we are able to start that partnership conversation.
For sure. Excellent. Okay, thank you very much. I have a motion that is moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Dan Meeks, that council receive the municipal accommodation tax presentation from Richard Allen, Manager of Economic Development with the County of Frontenac, for information. All those in favor? Carried. All right. No public meeting. We have our consent agenda. And we are pulling one item out of the consent agenda. So the motion is moved by Duncan McGregor, seconded by Bill Everett, that council receive items A through D, with the exception of number 13, for information as they're considered routine items. And then we'll deal with number 13 under number 14 on the agenda. Okay. All right. All those in favor? Carried. There's no deferred items, so we are at staff reports. First is Public Works Activity Report. Mr. Gould, how are you tonight? And Amanda. Great. Have a motion moved by Lynn Clegg, seconded by Cindy Kelty, that council receive the Public Works Activity Report as presented by the Public Works Manager for information. Discussion. Nikki.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for your report. I just have a couple questions. I've been asked when the lines on 38 are going to be painted now that you've finished the asphalt resurfacing. And my other question is, I've been asked about winter sand tenders, when they're going to be put out.
Through you, Madam Mayor, we were actually discussing the Santander, what we're gonna do there. Today we were doing it, but hopefully get it out next week, maybe. What was the first one again? Oh, yeah. Well, I was gonna wait till 509 was done. It should be done tomorrow, 509. So I was gonna wait till that's done and get them to come and do everything at once.
Okay, it's called patience, right? Have patience. Duncan. Lynn.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Likewise, I'd like to know about the lines on the Arden Road when they're going to be coming. Is that with the other contract? Okay. Okay, thank you.
There will be lines on everything that doesn't have lines right now, that should have lines. Okay. Steve, anything you want to add?
Not too much. We're working away out there. It's the new temporary sand dome. They're working at that. We had Ministry of Environment out to look, and we changed the spot where it was. They had a better spot for us to put it. It works actually better for us too. Tomorrow we have 2 employees entering in a competition for the snowplow for District 8. And if they place in the top, I think it's 3 there, they go on to the All Ontario Plow. So last time we had a guy that placed 4th, so he's pretty close. So
Good. Excellent. We'll be waiting to hear the results. All right. No other questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Carried. All right. And moved by Susan, seconded by Philip, that council receive the Public Works project status report as presented by the Public Works Manager for information. Questions or comments on that? Susan?
Not really a question, but through Madam Mayor, but a request. So I see that you've been very busy and you've completed a number of projects and you have the budget there. I can't remember what the cost was of the completed projects. Would it be possible to put another column that indicates the price of the project that when it's completed, so that we know going forward if there is a surplus or a deficit? Will help with the budget planning, I think.
So be able to compare
Yeah.
what we spent and what we budgeted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Good. All right. All those in favor of the motion? Carried. Right. Okay, next we have the draft parking bylaw. You might as well stay there. Okay. So we have a motion moved by Dan Meek, seconded by Nikki Gowdy. The council received the draft parking bylaw report for information, and that council provide comments and feedback on the draft parking bylaw to the deputy clerk by September the 30th, 2025, and that staff release a survey to gather public comments and feedback on the draft parking bylaw with a closing date of September 30th. And further, that staff update the draft bylaw accordingly for council review at an upcoming meeting. Discussion. Duncan.
So I'll submit my comments about the bylaw itself in a separate email. We don't need to talk about that tonight, but I just want to say, like, I really appreciate how much focus is on public feedback when we're talking about redoing this bylaw. Right off the get-go, we're looking for surveys, public meetings. We're leaving a wide open window, and it's refreshing, and I think the public will appreciate it, even if they don't necessarily support the bylaw or do.
Anyone else? Nikki.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I really appreciated in the survey, the questions that you asked and where you left the spot open for comments. It wasn't just A, B, or C, that you really want to hear what they have to say. So thank you for that.
Good. Okay. All right. If there's no more comments, all those in favor? Carried. So that will come back after the September 30th. There will be a report and then we'll deal with it down the road. All right. We have a motion moved by Duncan McGregor, second by Lynn Clegus, that council receive the construction details. Oh, sorry. We're with Andy now. Steve is gone. How
Yeah.
quickly he moves. So moved by Duncan McGregor, seconded by Lynn Clegus, that council receive the construction details building activity report for July 2025 for information. Discussion. Nikki.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Andy, I just have an opinion question for you. There's significant drops over the past couple of years, and I know it's post-COVID. Do you see this trend continuing in a drop in construction, or do you see it rising again, leveling out? And it's only an opinion. I'm not holding you to anything.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Gowdy. I just think it's a blip for that month. We've got approximately 30 applications in the queue there, so a couple houses would make up the difference.
And this is July's report, not August, eh?
No, this is August.
August.
Okay, because the motion says July.
Oh,
With your permission, Duncan and Lynn, I'm going to put August in there and take out July. I thought that should be the case. All right. Susan.
Through Madam Mayor, Andy, just a question. Usually on your report, there's a little graph that shows which district the permits are issued in. And maybe it wasn't on my package, but I
had
didn't-
it. It
What is
was
it?
there.
So my apologies.
You didn't go
It's
down
there.
far enough.
I didn't, well, I had this blank page, so thank you.
No, really?
no.
It's on the public one, but no.
Well, I've had a chance to review it, so thank you. That's right. I was looking at the public one.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion? Carried. All right, and we have a motion moved by Bill Everett, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that council receive the capital projects report as presented by the chief building official for information. Any discussion on that? Looks like you've got lots of things going. Susan.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through Madam Mayor. Andy, if you wouldn't mind adding a column for completed projects showing the cost so that we know if we have a deficit or a surplus in what we budgeted, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Good.
I can do that.
Okay. No other questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion? Carried. All right, now we have a road closure allowance. Moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Susan Irwin. The council approve in principle the recommendation of the CAO clerk to close part of the unopened road allowance between concessions 1 and 2, lot 25, geographic township of Hinchinbrook, part of PIN number 36158-0482, and that council authorize staff to proceed to a public meeting to receive resident input on the proposed closure. Any questions or comments on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Heritage Festival Committee, moved by Cindy Kelsey, seconded by Duncan McGregor. The council received the Heritage Festival Committee report for information, and that council repeals bylaw 2007-245, being a bylaw to establish a Central Frontenac Heritage Festival Committee in its entirety, and that council choose one of the following options. Option 1, subcommittee model, and further, council establish a subcommittee of the Economic Development Committee. Am I doing this?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
The Development Committee for the Planning and Implementation of the Annual Central Frontenac Heritage Festival, or option 2, standalone committee model, and that council reestablish a Heritage Festival Committee comprised of 1 council member and 4 community members. And further, that council directs staff to proceed with recruiting community members for appointment to this committee. So discussion on which model you would like to do. Who wants to start the discussion? Cindy.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I know last year we had an issue with getting things off the ground with it sort of thing, but I have been doing it for 10 years the way it was. I don't see much of a problem. The only thing I would like to see, like, I think that we should stay with option 2 and keep it separate, but I would like to see 2 council members on the committee so that we have extra hands to do things and get things worked out. But on that note, I do like the 4 community members being appointed though too. I'd like that, so.
So just change the council members to 1 more and leave the 4 community members as a subcommittee.
Standing.
Oh, sorry, a standalone committee, yes. Okay. Lynn?
I agree with Cindy. I think that she's done a good job with it for the last 10 years. And last year was a blip in the way things played out, but that it is better to keep it as a standalone committee that has community members involved, and having an extra council member would be a good idea.
And I think also one of the things is the community members should be 1 from each ward. I think that would help out as well. Okay.
So through you, Madam Mayor, is that something we can add to option 2 that from each area?
I think so, eh? 1 from each district,
Yeah.
comprised of 4 county members, 1 from each district. If that's okay with Cindy and Duncan to change that? Okay. So it is option 2 that we're choosing. So I'll just circle that so
Yes,
that we
please.
know. Is everybody feeling comfortable with that?
Question. Cindy, based on your years of experience, do you think 4 is enough committee members?
Well, I think 4 from each area, but I don't think we should have it that we can only have 4 people. If we want to have more committee, like people
Oh,
come
yeah.
to the committees.
If you can get volunteers, you just
Yeah,
write
I-
their names down. Pardon?
Could it say a minimum of 4 community members?
Yeah, we can. And a minimum of 4 community members.
I just feel we shouldn't
1 from
turn
each
people
district.
away. We shouldn't turn people away if they want to help on a committee, right?
Mhm.
That's
The
never a
more the
problem.
merrier. The more the merrier. So we like everyone, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and 2 counselors. Oh, sorry.
So
Yeah,
you need to know, are you going to pick the second counselor?
yeah, that's probably a good plan. Who would like to volunteer for that committee? Do we have to do it on this motion? It's getting messy.
No, we don't. We can do it at the next, because maybe you'll have some idea of some other members too, and we can put it all into for next meeting.
Cindy, you can do some talking to other members and see who you can get.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion as it's amended here says, and council reestablish a Heritage Festival Committee comprised of 2 council members and a minimum of 4 community members, 1 from each district. That's what we want. All right. All those in favor? Carried. There, we got it. All right. Now, moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Dan Meeks, that council approve the addition of the Safe Yard Bylaw 2025-40 as a designated bylaw under the Administrative Monetary Penalties, AMPS Bylaw 2024-43 by amending the schedules accordingly. And that the necessary amending bylaw be presented later in the meeting for passage. Discussion. No discussion. All those in favor? Carried. Good. All right. Moved by Lynn Clegis, seconded by Bill Everett. Whereas council has adopted a new committees of council policy, and whereas the Economic Development Committee terms of reference must be updated to align with this policy and current committee structure. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council accept the terms of reference as presented by the Economic Development Committee. Discussion. Philip.
Just wondering if we should take some of the recommendations from the organizational review, where they had suggested our committees become advisory committees and just make that kind of evident in the name.
Good point. Good point. So does that need to be added to the motion? Update in line with structure.
Well, the terms of reference don't make reference to it being advisory, so
So the terms of reference then should add that.
I think so.
Okay, that we accept the amended terms of reference instead of as presented with the addition of
And being advisory.
something like that.
That the terms of reference be for the economic, we're renaming the Economic Development Committee to the Economic Advisory Committee, or
Terms of reference be presented. Okay, but the motion says now that therefore it be resolved that council accept the amended terms of reference. You don't want to accept those as they're presented, right?
I guess not.
No, no. So as amended. As amended. By adding. Oops,
Change the name.
okay. Changing the
Yeah.
name.
From the Economic Development Committee to the Economic Development Advisory Committee.
Thanks, Susan.
Advisory. I'm printing so they can read my printing.
I
Okay,
wrote it down as well.
all right. So what it says now is that we accept the amended terms of reference as amended by changing the name from the Economic Development Committee to the Economic Development Advisory Committee. Duncan.
So I agree with Councillor Smith that our end goal through the organization review is to make committees advisory. But as it currently stands, economic development does not have resources necessary to complete any projects. So if we make this committee advisory only and the committee members are only advising and not actually taking on projects, we're effectively stopping any economic development initiatives within our municipality.
You need council's approval to be doing a lot of stuff. So you're advisory, you're not actioned. Even if you have a budget.
So this year alone, right, we stepped in when there was an economic, as an example, we stepped in and realized the importance of the Heritage Festival and its economic importance. Our committee was very easily able to pivot and take that on. We're currently taking on projects at the Trailhead Building, as well as some other economic initiatives that need to happen. And the only way they're happening is through committee members. We do not have the staff resources available to us to complete the projects by themselves.
Philip.
But the projects are approved by council.
Yes.
That's what makes it advisory.
Yeah.
You haven't, the committee has an idea, they get approval from council, and then go away and do the work.
Yeah. So you do have the permission to be doing those actions, but we have to approve the projects or the, yeah.
And sorry, and that's why I think, I don't know if we're splitting hairs with the words here. That's what I'm not understanding. So
Splitting hairs.
okay. Advisory means we advise, right? Implementation is not listed as one of the examples in the terms of reference, just like advisory is not. So it's left as open, right? We still need to be able to implement decisions once they're approved by council.
Then council needs to give you the authority through a motion to implement. Susan.
Through Madam Mayor, my understanding is that when, as the Economic Development Committee has a project, it's reflected in the minutes and a recommendation is made so that council can then approve the project. So the Village is Beautiful program, I mean, staff were kept informed, that was approved. So I think that's how it works.
And if in fact there's a time that you want to do something that wasn't approved, then that's when we call a special meeting to deal with it and in order to pivot. But hopefully we've approved the project and you're implementing what we've approved to get to the ultimate end of what it was we wanted done. Okay. All right. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right. Communications. Now we are going to do we're pulling a letter from the Legion Ladies Auxiliary do you have the letter? Or do you want to just, you have it, Lynn? Do you want to just give a synopsis of what the request is?
It's a letter dated July 31st from the Ladies Auxiliary in the Gordon Gaylord branch in Arden. And they're asking if we would be willing to help out with a donation for their quarter auction and Chinese dinner fundraiser. And the money is raised to help individuals in the community that the Legion support in around Arden. So that's the synopsis of the letter. And my suggestion was, I am told that in the past we have made donations to this dinner and that we continue to do this. And I know we've just acquired some new township swag, and I would propose that we put some of the swag together and maybe a $25 gift card for groceries at Mike Dean's. So that's my suggestion. And what do people think?
Yes. Okay. Are we up for this? I don't remember doing this before, but it could have been. Not that I'm not saying that we don't do it. I'm just saying I
I'm told
personally
that
don't.
we've done a donation in the past for this exact dinner.
Okay. So somebody
There's
want to make a
resolution.
motion?
There's the motion there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. But this is talking about pulling. Okay. So moved by Lynn and seconded by Cindy. I would like to pull number 13 from correspondence to discuss township has contributed in past years. Can we donate this year? I propose some new swag and a $25 gift certificate for groceries. All those in favor? Carried. All right. All right, now we are at bylaws. Being a bylaw to designate safe yards, moved by Cindy Kelsey, seconded by Susan Irwin. That bylaw 2025-42 being a bylaw to designate the safe yards bylaw under AMPS 2024-43 be read a first, second, and third time, finally pass this 9th day of September 2025. All those in favor? Carried. Now we have notice of motion, and this is moved by Duncan McGregor. And do we have a seconder? I'll read the motion first, and then you can decide who wants to second it. Whereas the number of available parking spaces in the village of Charlotte Lake is a known issue, and that the southern intersection of Road 38 and Elizabeth Street has been identified as a potential hazardous intersection, and that traffic movement through Elizabeth Street is often congested and difficult due to two-way traffic, that council directs staff to bring a report to the October 28th council meeting outlining potential benefits / concerns with changing Elizabeth Street to a one-way street. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Lynn. Lynn with two N's. Discussion. Do we discuss the notice of motion?
Yeah, now this was for giving, we already gave notion, now this
Okay,
one.
so we can
is ready
talk
to
about
talk
this.
about,
Okay,
yes.
Duncan.
So, first of all, thank you, council. I know that one-way street conversations are kind of a sore subject, and it wasn't that long ago before it was fairly controversial. I want to be very clear with my motion because it took me a while to word it exactly the way I wanted it worded. I am not asking council to make Elizabeth Street a one-way street. That's not what I'm asking here at all. We have identified an issue in the village around parking. We've identified an issue of a hazardous intersection at the south side. And through other economic development conversations, we've identified ways that a one-way street may benefit our community, including streetscaping, making it more pedestrian friendly. All of these things are potential benefits. I don't know all the concerns. I'm not saying this is a one-size-fits-all solution, and that's not what I'm trying to accomplish here. All I'd like to have is the conversation. We have very few businesses left in our communities. We need to be having the conversations about how we can support them. We need to look at ourselves as visitors to this community, as well as people acting there, or people who are not in our demographic. So senior citizens, mothers with children, all sorts of different accessibility challenges, and think, how are they accessing our core services? So I know pulling around, driving through the downtown, I can usually find a parking spot. It's not impossible, but I wonder, is it reasonable to ask a senior citizen to park at the public school and walk to the bank or walk to the post office? I mean, it's only a half of 250 meters. I don't feel it's reasonable. So I'm not going to go on forever. I'll answer any questions anybody has, but I just want to be very clear. I'm not asking council to make Elizabeth Street one way. I'm just asking council to have the conversation and see where it takes us. Very thankful staff have brought forward a parking bylaw. I don't know if a parking bylaw is a better answer than a one-way street. These are all part of the conversation. So please don't drop it. Let's see if we can get a report done for October 28th. We'll be able to compare it to the parking bylaw. I promise you, I will not be disappointed if this Elizabeth Street does not go one way. I will be slightly disappointed if we aren't even open to having the conversation. So open to questions.
Lynn.
I just wanted to reiterate some of what Duncan said. In seconding the motion, I am really interested in hearing, I've heard the positives. I want to hear the negatives in a report that can make a balanced decision in this. What are, there's some good points to this idea, but there's also going to be some negative things that the staff are going to be much more aware of than I am. So I'm really anxious to hear how that plays out.
Okay. Susan.
Through Madam Mayor, I am aware in our board package or council package, I sit on too many boards, that there was at least one letter expressing concerns and indicating that parking and signage might be a better solution. So I'm just playing devil's advocate for a moment to raise those concerns. There was also a letter to the editor saying that there are so many roads in our township that need some work, and so she was not in favor of changing Elizabeth Street to one way. I have just a concern, because like Madam Mayor, people may have noticed that I'm short, and I'm short-waisted, so I can't see over the steering wheel. And north, whether you're talking the north entrance of Elizabeth Street or the south entrance of Elizabeth Street, there's always potential barriers, and the same from Robert Street as well. So those are just concerns. I'm not saying we shouldn't investigate it, but I just wanted to raise those concerns and reflect what residents have communicated either by letter or to me. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Bill.
I don't want to.
Well, I'll tell you, my phone has been ringing a lot. I had a gentleman who did a study and sent me some notes. I just want to read you what he's got. 70 parking spots, not including pickleball courts in town hall. Some employees sport spots included. All adjacent or easy walking distance from the grocery store. Only 3 accessible parking are available. 3 angle parking best works with long strings of commercial uninterrupted by driveways. If you're going to do an angle, Elizabeth Street has several driveways. References to Brockville makes no sense. Other than Canada Day, we do not have a parking problem. No cost benefit study. Financial benefits to commercial properties would be insignificant and very difficult to estimate. The dollar cost of this recent project, now 3.5 million plus, went well. If angle parking is a better solution, why was it not included in the original analysis? To alter the current well-planned project respectfully, not entirely paid for by our citizens, would be highly questionable, to say the least. He doesn't believe there's any basis to accept the proposal. One of the big concerns that I've had, speaking to 2 gentlemen, is the bringing of pontoon boats through the village. If it were south to north, trying to get through with 30-foot pontoon boats and widths and cars parked. Anyway, I haven't had I haven't had anybody think it was a good idea. Bill?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll add a couple of other things. One way could more than likely impede emergency vehicles. It would impede the tanker trucks or the pumper trucks from getting to the standoff at the government wharf for filling. With one-way traffic, there's no place for cars to get off the road for any emergency vehicle going through. And as for safety at the south end at 38, no matter which way the road is one way or even two-way, it's going to be the exact same amount of traffic crossing 38 going north or crossing 38 turning onto Elizabeth at either end. It's the same number of vehicles either way. So there's no safety provision in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is kind of for Kathy. Oh, better? Yeah. Oh, my question is kind of for Kathy, and if you don't remember, I totally understand. When the study was done and all the stuff was done for the Elizabeth Street project, and I believe you'd said about 10 or 12 years ago, and it was shovel ready, was any of this taken into consideration by that public works manager at the time?
No, there was not. I don't remember that at all,
Okay.
that he did that, so. Yeah.
Okay.
I did feel on at the beginning when I gave you guys full spiels that I didn't want to hear I hadn't investigated it. Sorry, I didn't want to ramble on at the beginning, unless I knew what your questions are going to be. I didn't ramble on because I didn't know exactly what the questions are going to be, but now that I've had some of the questions, I can answer it. So the first mention was about the financial cost of doing this. So I do not envision this being a huge financial burden on the municipality. I can guarantee you, if it was a financial burden on the municipality, I would not be supporting it. So if this is going to cost tens of thousands of dollars, I would not support it. I have not mentioned angled parking. Angled parking is a possibility. It's not mentioned anywhere in my motion. Public feedback's obviously extremely important. I got ahead of this immediately, posted on social media openly. I tried to visit everyone on Elizabeth Street. I missed a few people to obtain the feedback. I haven't mentioned direction because I don't know what the direction would be. There's been a lot of assumptions that it would go in from the south and out from the north, and that may happen. I don't know. That's part of why we need to do the research. Driving the fire truck, I disagree, but I won't touch that one. And then the safety provision is not about the number of cars, it's about exiting the south side. So we're gonna have the same number of vehicles, but the chief complaint from people who have addressed that as a safety issue are saying coming out the north, they can't see because of cars parked on Road 38. Anyway, I won't take up any more time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let me just read the last line, and that's that we direct staff to bring a report to the October 28th council meeting outlining potential benefits / concerns with changing Elizabeth Street to a one-way street. All those in favor? Opposed? It's defeated. All right. Now we have another motion by Duncan, waiting for a seconder, and that is that council form an ad hoc committee comprised of staff members of the public and members of council to review the township website and provide recommendations on how it can be more accessible, user-friendly, and support other items outlined in the strategic plan. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Susan? Discussion. Duncan, do you want to start with this one?
No, this one's pretty self-explanatory. If anybody has any questions, I'm able to answer them.
Okay. Philip, and then Susan, and then Nikki.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just wondering how long we would expect the ad hoc committee to last for. Like, I'm assuming this is more of a project-based thing than an ongoing living committee that will last forever.
So I guess I could, but then that's kind of what I was thinking with ad hoc, is this would not be a permanent committee of council. It would basically be until the project's over, until we feel as though the website's heading in the right direction.
Okay. Susan and then Nikki.
Through Madam Mayor, I suspect that all of you have heard complaints from people about how difficult it is to navigate the township website. And it would be helpful, I think, to have input on how to make it better and more accessible. I'm probably one of the people who has complained that I can't find things on the township website.
Okay, Nikki.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to see if I remember correctly or not, but I thought we were waiting for an update on changing the website. It was a few months ago, I think that was said. So that was my question.
Kathy's going to answer that.
I can answer that question. You are correct. The website, the way it is going to be no longer, I guess, relative by the end of the year. I think that's, wasn't it not, Chris? December with the county. It won't be supported anymore. So, yeah, but the county, along with the treasurers, because they're the ones that are the contact for all the municipalities, have, Michael is bringing a report on September 23rd with respect to the website and the new website platform that's going to be required. So I think by this resolutions, I think it's a little bit premature. I think you should wait to hear what they have, because they have done interviews with companies and they have one selected that they think will work for us. So that's where we are with the website. Yes, there is a lot of things that you can't do with the website, but we're hoping this is going to be better. But it's a county project with all the townships.
So that means we could defer this motion, or we could put the ad hoc committee in place and have the group study what we've got so that you know what you don't want in the next one. So if you go ahead with the ad hoc committee, there would still be work that could be done to get ready for what's coming. So what's your pleasure? To go ahead with this motion? Okay.
And I'll just let you know that it will be, there is financial, any cost incurred will be on prior to the 2026 budget.
So it'll be next year that it's happening. All right. All those in favor of the motion? Carried. Do we have a motion to pick members for that ad hoc, or do I do that next meeting? Since there's not a big rush.
Wait till the next meeting.
How about if people let Kathy know if you're interested in that meeting or that committee? And then we'll pick the committee from next meeting. All right. Okay. Any giving of notice of motions?
No, there is not.
Any new or other business?
No, there is not.
Okay, we are ready to go into closed session. Do I take a few minutes break? We'll stretch and then come back.
For sure.